Hello and what is up guys, Rai here and welcome back to some more automation in BeamNG.drive. Today we are building a car that's going to compete or hopefully beat the Koenigsegg Gemera. Now for those of you guys who have no idea what the heck I'm talking about, you can of course look up Koenigsegg Gemera. I'm not going to spell it out because it's kind of hard to spell. The Koenigsegg Gemera is a two-door, four-seat GT, like Grand Touring coupe-ish vehicle. It's a new vehicle coming out by Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg is known for making crazy vehicles, and this thing is no exception. Powered by, some electric motors and also a 2-liter, 3-cylinder engine. So some of you guys might be wondering, well, why not just all electric? Well, all electric, it's not really all varied. I don't think the range was there for Koenigsegg, so they wanted to add a gas engine. In this case, it's a 3-cylinder. It's not just any 3-cylinder. It's a 2-liter 3-cylinder, so quite a large 3-cylinder engine as far as 3-cylinders go. Probably the largest production 3-cylinder that I know of. I'm not sure. But it also incorporates Koenigsegg's new, I think it's called free valve technology, where there's, I don't think, any valves. I'm not sure exactly how it works. You guys can check it out. Very interesting stuff, though. I haven't read too much about it. But what I do know is the engine has 600 horsepower. Yes, a 2-liter 3-cylinder engine has 600 horsepower. And the electric motors give the thing a total, I think, of 1700 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 1.9 seconds, which is absolutely insane. I don't think we can beat that today, but we can sure as heck try. So the goal of today's episode, or today's video, is to build a, it's going to be a 4-door GT car. This is the Porsche Panamera-esque body, rear engine, rear all-wheel drive, pretty much a supercar. We're not going to get 1700 horsepower because that's damn near impossible, but we're going to get as much horsepower as we can muster out of a 2-liter 3-cylinder engine. It's not going to be a great engine. It won't be pretty. It's going to be quite expensive. This car is probably going to be like $5 million-ish, which is probably similar-ish to the Koenigsegg. Koenigsegg's not that much, but the Koenigsegg's a lot of money. And of course, we're just making a gas engine. That's not going to be as good. So carbon fiber, of course, monocont carbon fiber. Rear engine, longitudinal. That's going to save a bit of weight, I think, a little bit of weight, as well as also having a better weight distribution, hopefully lots of weight in the rear, so it's going to be fast accelerating in a straight line. Now the question, do we want double wishbone or McPherson struts in the rear? Now McPherson struts are lighter, and that's obviously a good thing when we're talking about kind of a big 4-door kind of thing. We want to save as much weight as possible. We'll go with double wishbone for now. I might change it. Push rod front, this is a race suspension. Well, this is a high-end car, so I'll allow that. A new engine, and this engine is going to be absolutely crazy because it's going into pretty much a hypercar or a supercar. It's only going to be 600 horsepower, but what can you do here? Now, I did a couple testing with this just to make sure we can actually accomplish something similar to the Koenigsegg Gemera. We're going to do a 2-liter engine, obviously, right flat 2 liters, about just over 2 liters it is. So magnesium and dual overhead cam 4 valves. So there's no free valve here, but that's okay. ALSI and VVL, we want that on, please. 2 liters exactly. And full forge. We're going to go for forged pistons, not lightweight forged, because I don't think the actual engine can handle this much power that we're making for what this is. We're going to make a very high VVL profile, and then cam profile we'll put just to 60 for now, I think. So this is going to be a high revving boy. It's going to be not a realistic engine, not as good as the actual Gemera, because if you want to make this much power out of a 3-cylinder in this game, then you got to make the engine being very, very much a race engine. It might, for me, I'm not an engine pro. I've tested we can get maybe 700 horsepower from what I tested. We're going to go for just a generic tune here, 720 horsepower ball bearing, a performance tune. I'll tune this all in a second here. Direct first cylinder. We need as best as we can. Now, I might go for performance intake. You don't really want to hear this 3-cylinder sound too crazy. Now we're going to go for bypass, and I am going to put, so just maybe 1 muffler. Like, do we even need a muffler? It's going to have such good emissions. Do we, oh, I mean, it needs a muffler for sound. We don't need a cat, I guess. 400 is actually quite good. Honestly, we could probably get away with no catalytic converter. 456 emissions is pretty low, I think, on the grand scheme of things. 1 muffler is fine. Straight through muffler it is. We're going to put this to about 3.5-inch exhaust. It's going to be a very, very thick boy exhaust. And I'm going to increase the quality of the engine all the way to plus 15. We don't need it for the turbo probably, but what's another $1 million on the budget? We're going to put this thing to about 9,000 or so RPM, I think. It's a little bit less reliable, but this car is never going to be reliable in the first place. And then full fuel mixture, please. Full AR ratio. Yeah, we'll put it to full boost for now. I'll probably change that here or there. What else could we do? I want to get this thing around 600-700 horsepower, so we're going to need, I think, a smaller turbine. Gonna get us quite a bit out there. You can hear my mouse just spamming because we're just changing it here and there. And, oh, the compressor's actually struggling. Okay, what are we doing here? So the exhaust turbine, the compressor is definitely struggling here. So we're making less torque and torque later. We're making more horsepower and increase the intercooler just a bit there. And we're going to go for full ignition timing. And we're using up all of our fuel right now. Good, it's still being used. We're going to actually lower it down a bit. I think we'll go for a higher compression ratio, help us out just a bit more than the ignition timing. 10.5 to 1. We're at 560 horsepower. We're nearly at Gemera levels of power. No bypass valves. We don't actually... Oh, we don't need it because we can just increase the exhaust size and that'll save us a bit of weight and a bit of money. I mean, not like a few $100s is going to change things. So far 575 force and 500 torque. We are approaching similar levels of performance to the Koenigsegg Gemera. Slightly bigger turbine now. We can probably go less boost. No, we're actually using up all of our boost, making torque, looks like, which is okay. I'll take that. And we're getting a bit of knocking, lower the ignition timing just a bit. So over 600 horsepower, so we have passed Gemera's power output. Now the real challenge is just getting a car that's somewhat close to performance, even though we're not going to have anything close enough, but just somewhat close to performance. No, so we're at 626. The intercooler is a fine size. And what can we do here? We can do a bit better on the ignition timings at the max there. Better exhaust. Slightly more horsepower there. Slightly more horsepower there. If we went for no secondary muffler, no muffler at all, we're 50 loudness, which is actually quite loud. We'll go for a 38. It's already gonna be a loud car. If we wait for race exhaust, and no muffler, we would have 670 horsepower. That'd be nice. Honestly, this might just be like an all or nothing build. We might just make a car that just smashes it, even though it doesn't actually beat it because we're at less performance. See, if we do lightweight forged, we are definitely not holding those pistons up. We're gonna go for regular forged here. And I think overall the car is pretty good. It is a little bit... Oh, it's 675 horsepower. That's not bad. It's up there. There's not much more we can do. We could increase the cam profile probably. We'll get a little bit more torque for a little bit there. I can play around with the compression just a bit more. This is a bit of a really tedious build. 674, no. We can probably just do the ignition timing 675, and 517 torque. So more horsepower. I don't know the torque numbers on the Koenigsegg, but I'm going to presume more torque. It is made incredibly high up in the rev range, starting at 4,400 RPM, but it makes that for quite a while. And horsepower is not really linear at all. Look at this. It makes no horsepower until 4,400 RPM. I guess the real trick to this car is making sure you're staying within that at least 4,000 in the power band. Just stay in the power band. You'll be fine. We're not going to hear this thing sound zero. We'll jump into BeamNG when we're done. So the question is, do I want to make an actual 4-seater GT car? Because that's more of a Koenigsegg Gemera body, honestly. Or this 2-door GT car, which honestly I think is just disgusting looking. It's just really weird. Like, this is not pretty looking either, but this is more of a, you know, almost like a... This is a Porsche Panamera. So we're going to make a Porsche Panamera body here. All-wheel drive, dual clutch, 7-speed, electric limited slip diff. We'll put it to a 350 on the top speed for now, 370. 360, that sounds fine. Full quality on a few things. I want to put semi-slicks on this thing because I want this to compete somewhat performance-wise to the Koenigsegg. It's not gonna... We're not gonna get a 1.90 to 60 with a 3-cylinder. If you can get a 1.90 to 60 with the 3-cylinder without putting every slider to max, we're gonna put lots though, but with every slider, put vented discs because we don't need carbon ceramics, I don't think, on this car. And just 12 inches are fine. No under tray and no cooling flaps. We don't need better fuel economy because this is not what this car is for. And then we'll just do sport, premium HUD, and then just the best of the best there. And then we'll go to suspension, a sport tune, etc. So 3,000 pounds. So we are lighter than the Gemera with less horsepower. Obviously, we'll actually turn this quite a bit of rear bias. So we're actually getting a pretty good 0-60. 0-60 2.3. We can actually get it down a bit more. 2.2. I saw 2.2. No, we're not getting it anymore. No, we're not. Okay. I'll take a 0-60 2.3. So we are still up there for this is definitely the fastest gas vehicle 0-60 probably ever, or production vehicle if this actually came with the cost. I'm guessing 5 million. 4.6. I'll take that. 4.6 million dollars in cost. 2012 dollars. We're selling this in 2020, so that should be a bit more, which is not great. But 0-60 2.3, 9 mpg. That's not good. That's not good. I'm not gonna lie. Now this body is maybe a little bit dated, but I'm gonna do my best to design this thing as if it were a real car. I can go ahead and probably even choose a much more modern, more aerodynamic body, like the the actual LMP1 race car, or this Ferrari body, etc. And we can have a faster accelerating car that's lighter and looks better too, but that's not the point. Now, if you go for McPherson struts, we're actually saving 50 or so pounds. McPherson struts honestly might be what's wanted here. We will save some weight. I think we'll go for McPherson struts. We're going to save some weight, and the brakes actually are overkill. Lower them just to 10 inches. We're going to save a bit of weight here and there. What I'm going to do now is tune the car, like tweaks, you know, all the suspension, tweak all the things basically, and also design the car in a short time lapse. And also talk about it while I'm doing that. So sit back, relax, and I hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so we are starting the build for our Koenigsegg Gemera competitor. So our 3-cylinder hyper GT car basically, or a mega GT as Koenigsegg calls theirs. First things first, the headlights are probably the single most important aspect, or one of the most important aspects for a vehicle. I go with these vents. I'm making my own headlights for this build, so I go with these really intricate vents. This is a pretty quick build actually. We already have it in the front. With some rectangular headlights basically, and basically a line way around that as well. I'm not done with the headlights, I just sort of have the basics done there. They're a little bit low I think, but I think we'll keep them there. Adding a bit more details in the front. The front grille is already done, adding some vents. The front end does take a lot of styling elements from the Koenigsegg Gemera. I do tweak the engine, get a bit more power out of it. Working on the hood now, just adding a few details here and there, making the pretty much headlights into a triangle, almost housing out of vents and stuff. Playing around with the brakes, the gearing, changing the wheels up now, adding one single wiper because it just looks nice and clean. Then I'm slowly working on some other features like adding door handles, trim along the bottom, basically. I make my own custom trim along the bottom, pretty much just giving the car a bit more detail, a bit more depth. It's not going to transfer over to BeamNG grade, but that's okay. Basically, doing pretty simple taillights to start off, but I do end up changing them, I think, later on. I think they look good on their own, but you know, the taillights, it just doesn't fit with the rest of the body. It looks good on their own, but when you start making a bunch of details inside this, then it gets a bit weird and a bit, I don't know, ungainly. I don't like it. So I do end up getting rid of them after playing around with a wing and stuff for a while, adding double wings, triple wings. And I do end up getting another mod of just an invisible wing, because I don't like how any of the wings look, so I just get an invisible wing mod. Delete the taillights, redo the taillights in the back end, basically add this big long bar going across the top. Almost, it feels like it's similar to a Bugatti almost, I feel like. I'm not too sure, just like the shape of it. And just sort of playing around with an idea of a name now and stuff like that, just trying to sort of get an idea of what I want to do. The name I finalized on was the Epizzoro Venturi. Again, this is the 2020 Epizzoro Venturi in bright green with a lot of black accents. So I hope you guys enjoyed the quick little build. Alright guys, so this is the competitor, or my competitor, to the Koenigsegg Gemera Mega GT, Coupe GT's supercar thing. I'm not too sure. This is the Epizzoro Venturi, like I said. 3,100 pounds is what it's weighing in at the end here. 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds. Not as good as the Koenigsegg, but we also don't have electric motors to back our car up. We just have a 775 horsepower, 2-liter gas engine, which is absolutely insane. Revs to 8,000 or raised to 9,000 RPM, 8,400 is peak RPM. Obviously, it doesn't make power until, what, almost 5,000 RPM, which isn't great, but this is the kind of car you want to keep it. You got so much gears, you got 7 speeds, just keep it at 5,000 all the time. Why not? A very expensive car. It does have downforce because I have an invisible wing. There's a mod for that. Starting with the front end here, we got almost like an alien-like front end. Massive intakes on the side here. Lots of details with some trim here and there. It's not the cleanest build, but it's very aggressive. The headlights are all pretty much custom made using not really any mods, just one mod for some light fixtures that we can actually play around with. Basically, almost a triangle shape going for the headlights. You know, triangles and lots of lines here in the theme. We have a lip in the front where this pretty much blocked area. There's no grill here. There's just a grill on the sides, and we have basically an air channel, basically a place to channel air through the bottom of the car. Why not? Intakes in the hood with a nice power bulge as well. Then we have a little bit of detail there too. Pretty basic wiper, pretty basic mirrors. In the side here we have the gas cap, which, you know, ideally if this thing was a hybrid or electric like the Gemera, this would be like the charging cap for if you want to just charge the batteries too, something like that. Sure, it looks cool. I like it. The side is pretty clean, not a ton of detail, but this is the kind of car you don't need to say what it is. You see it and you either know what it is or you don't. And if you don't know what it is, which are probably the majority, you just think it's crazy expensive, which obviously it is. The bottom here, it's quite a bit of work actually to basically use the cutout pieces to make my own detail in the body panel down there with some black trim around that. And we have just a basic door handle that's not really a door handle, but I'm going to say it's a door handle because it looks pretty damn cool. Come to the roof here, and it does look interesting. You can't make it look perfect with the windows and stuff, but it's pretty cool how you have like the roof would come all the way down here. It's not perfect right here. You can't make it perfect. Nothing I can do. It looks good though. The back. I think the back is absolutely wild. I think it fits the front pretty well. It's not perfect. It's just supposed to be crazy and aggressive in its own right. I feel like it's almost like a Bugatti kind of rear end. I don't know. It just feels like it to me, but it's not nearly a Bugatti rear end. So we have a similar design of the back here with some big intakes. Then we have this, instead of a cutout, it's actually a mesh area. Triple exhaust setup basically with a lot of black plastic or a lot of black paint. Two, again, massive intakes here with some more little air curtain intakes there. I guess maybe it's a bit overstyled, probably, but I think it looks pretty wild. We have basically a light bar going across. It's a little bit thicker. We have some little 3 dots and we have another stripe down there. So I'm assuming all the lights are they're all integrated into one. Maybe there's a reverse light somewhere that's hidden or something like that that pops out. I'm not too sure. It looks darn cool. And the wheels, I did copy them a little bit from the Porsche Taycan and Porsche Mission E concept car. Copied them just a bit like the actual white, gray, and black. I think it looks fantastic. And I kept that as well. And the doors are also suicide doors, so they are reverse hinge doors, which is pretty damn cool as well. So all that's left to do, really, I tuned the suspension just a bit, I tuned the air just a bit. I'm not sure how it drives yet. I guess it's time to jump into BeamNG.drive and just see how this thing performs. Alright guys, so we are here in BeamNG.drive with the Epozoro Venturi, and as you can tell, this thing transferred over pretty darn good. There's honestly like no issues with the transfer at all. It looks so menacing, so badass. There's a bit of lag there for a second there. That's how that happened. Definitely looks like a mix between honestly, a bit of Koenigsegg Gemera, a bit of Porsche, a little bit of Bugatti in the rear. I feel like it's a cross between a bunch of cars, and of course the Porsche Mission E or Porsche Taycan wheels, ish. So this is the automation test track, full racetrack circuit. We're gonna do 1 lap of that. We might hop into something else. So at the beginning, I do just put in, I just like launch into sport mode instead of putting it straight into manual, because if you jump it right into manual at the beginning, all the revs drop down for some reason and it just goes down to nothing, and it does not like to rev. But it drives absolutely fine besides that. There are a couple of things though that aren't perfect. There is an invisible wing in the back, so we do have some downforce because there's no actual wings in this car that you can see physically, but there's an invisible wing with invisible wing mod. But it doesn't give enough downforce. The downforce isn't quite there. It's not 100%. It's quite good though. But you know, as you're approaching around 200 kilometers an hour or so, you definitely start to lose grip, and it gets a little bit all over the road almost. But with such an expert driver, such as myself, obviously, it's totally fine. I'm gonna brake a little bit here because we cannot take this turn at 270. 250 sounds reasonable. The brakes are super good. One of the best brakes I've ever had for a vehicle, I'd say. Took that just a bit wide and not perfect, but that's okay. Handles very good at the mid-low speeds, though. You can tell even at 170, 180 kilometers an hour, it starts to get a bit more wafty. And this thing is so wide that with the camera angle that we're in right now, you know, this first-person camera angle, the edges of the camera are not the edges of the car. The car goes off for a few inches on both sides. We're getting a bit more lag spikes. That's not great, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going through this anyways. Nice and slow through here, apparently. That's so much acceleration. It's so brutal. Honestly, I think it sounds fairly good for what it is. For what it is, a $4 million. And there's the oversteer. Oh. So, yeah, one thing I forgot to mention, it's because it's quite rear biased, the power. And you do get some oversteer. I think we could have changed it probably about 5% more towards the front. In a 2-minute time, I'm happy with it. I would have liked to get a little bit less. I think I tested a time of 150, 159. I think you could probably do, with more downforce, you could probably do 155 almost, with just more downforce, I think, honestly, and appropriate gearing, I think, is a bit better, than also appropriate power distribution. Overall, I'm happy with a 2-minute time on the automation test track. I haven't done too many test laps, and again, the lack of downforce isn't great, so we're going to jump even right into West Coast, the drag strip, and we're just going to take this thing on a drag strip and see if we can get a semi-appropriate time. I'm not sure what any Koenigsegg in general. I guess in a drag strip, I'm assuming it's incredible numbers. There is incredible performance for the vehicles. If we can get like an 8, a 9 second is probably very, very, very fast for a production vehicle. Production is a loosely used term. It's not used. very often, but it's a loosely used term, and I'm going to continue to pretty much use it right now, basically. It's never the drag strip. It's loading up here. It's perfect. The car is still awesome. I like the pops and crackles. The exhaust comes out of the far left tip. That's okay. Take out traction control. And just launch into sport, basically. Not off to perfect start. Yeah, even at 170, it starts to get a little bit lack of downforce. Okay, a 9.7 first try. We can do one better, I think. A 9.7. I'm going to go first person for this, so. I want to break the 9-second mark. That'd be great. We'll keep it in manual now this time for some of the gearing, for some of the speeds. A 9.6, 9.67 or 9.66. Not a bad time. We're gonna do one more try. I was really hoping I could break 9 seconds with this thing, but it's not. It is an incredibly fast car. 9 seconds or 10 seconds even. A 9.5. I'm happy with that. So we'll just finish it off just by going for a bit of a cruise through the track on this map. Definitely a lot of fun to drive. Not the best to drive though. It's definitely the lack of downforce is an issue, and I actually can't go back and change it because automation just updated to the newest version, which came out today. I think today. And so the glass or the invisible wing mod that I use is not compatible right now. So I'm on it. If I just bring back to automation the car, it's not there anymore. Perfect. That's okay though. Still a lot of fun. I do kind of want to go back at this car at some point, maybe, and might swap the inline 3.0 for a V12, just making like a Koenigsegg Gemera crusher. You know, who needs electric motors? We can have a 1700 horsepower twin turbo V12. You know, that's how I think of this. Definitely a fast car. Going 200 or so kilometers an hour. We're gonna hit the wall almost there. That's fine. Almost crashes right there. Perfect. The game might have just crashed. Well, I think we're gonna end the video off here. It's been a lot of fun making this car. A lot of fun. The build took an incredibly long time, about 2 hours or so for quite a long build. I think it turned out beautiful. Definitely one of my favorite cars. If you guys have an idea for another build, leave in the comments down below. The game looks like it's crashing. That's great. That's great. We'll just pop up an image right here. So if you guys like the video, leave a like down below. Make sure to join the Discord linked in the description. And more live streams are coming up. I think there'll be another live stream up tomorrow. It might be on Twitch, so join the Discord just to find out and stay tuned. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time.